Hello chess lovers, I have an interesting attacking game for you played by Boris Spassky against Yasser Seirawan. The game was played in 1982 in London. Spassky had white pieces and he started with e4, c6 by Seirawan, Caro-Kann defense, d4, d5, e5. Spassky goes for advanced variation, bishop f5. Black is developing the light square bishop before fixing the center by playing e6. h4, an interesting move by Spassky. The pawn on e5 cramps black's natural kingside development, and white hopes to create a kingside attack thanks to its influence. This move was actually popularized by Mikhail Tal when he played several unsuccessful games against Mikhail Botvinnik during their World Championship match. Black is playing h5 now, stopping h-pawn's further advancement and also keeping the f5 outpost for the bishop. In return, white obtains the g5 square, c4, and a bad move by Seirawan, bishop takes b1. The bishop on f5 actually stood very active, and by capturing the undeveloped knight on b1 square is of course not a good idea. Later Seirawan will write, "I can hardly believe my eyes that I played this move. What was I thinking?" We see rook takes b1, e6, a3, preventing any possible bishop b4 moves, not allowing to exchange the dark square bishop with his white bishop. Knight d7, knight f3, and another terrible move by Seirawan, g6, which is creating too many weaknesses on the king side. Well, actually capturing on c4 and then developing the knight would have been better. Instead, after knight f3 we see g6, bishop g5, bishop e7, c takes d5, c takes d5, bishop d3, rook c8, white castles kingside, king f8. Actually, if we have a look at black's kingside, all this looks very terrible. Black pieces are just demoralized. Rook c1, rook takes c1, queen takes c1, king g7, queen f4. The queen is coming to put pressure on black's kingside. Bishop takes g5, knight takes g5. Already there is too much pressure on f7 square, that's why black played knight h6. Rook c1, white rook is instantly occupying the c file. Queen b6, but now Spassky is playing b4, and it turns out that now the queen on b6 square is placed awkwardly. Rook e8, rook c3. Instead of playing rook c3, Spassky had a powerful move g4. The idea is that black knight can't leave its post and capture on g4, because after queen takes f7, black king will get checkmated. That's why after g4 black should capture with a pawn, then h5 is coming and black's king side is just collapsing. If g takes h5, then knight h7 is very powerful, opening up this square for the queen. If knight f5 blocking the bishop's path, then knight f6 first, and after knight takes f6 first, queen g5 check, and then e takes f6. This is just crushing. Looks like that black king will soon get checkmated. Let's go back, but after rook e8 we see rook c3. At some point this rook can also come and support white pieces. Rook e7, overprotecting the pawn on f7, but this frees the 8th rank for white rook. Knight g8, actually playing f6 and trying to somehow activate black pieces would have been better, though again black's position is very unpleasant. But instead we see knight g8. And already once the knight is moved away from h6 square, we see g4. H takes g4, h5. Finally, Boris Spassky is bringing into life this idea. f5, e takes f6 check, knight takes f6, queen e5. With a deadly threat, rook takes g8 and then queen takes f6. g3 trying to create some counterplay, but now we see this rook takes g8 move. King takes g8, queen takes f6, g takes f2 check, king g8. Well, actually capturing on f2 is also playable, but probably Spassky was afraid of this queen d6 move. The queen can come and give some checks, that's why he chose a safer line and played king g2, queen c7, queen takes g6 check, king f8, queen f6 check, and black resigned. Well, if king g8 then simply h6, this pawn is unstoppable, or if a move like king e8 then bishop b5 check, black should give up his queen, otherwise if rook d7 then queen f7 check and then black king is getting checkmated, or if king d8 then queen f8 check, and again we see a mate on the board. If you enjoyed this interesting encounter, don't forget to give the thumbs up or subscribe to my channel, more games are coming. Good luck.